Call Ascension Parish Council meeting of May 18th to order. Mr. McConnell, would you please lead us in prayer?
Be glad to. Father in heaven, we thank you for this wonderful day, this magnificent weather. And once again, we thank you for allowing us to live in South Louisiana and enjoy the many bounties that you have given us here and that you have provided us here. And we ask that you give us the wisdom that we need to use those gifts, to use those bounties to their best intent for the best good of your people. Father, we thank you for the freedom that we have to gather here together to do the work of the people. We hope that we do the right decisions, the best decisions, make the decisions that are best for all of the people. Give us the guidance that we need to make those decisions, and give us the unity that we need to work together for the betterment of Ascension Parish and for all of South Louisiana. As always, we ask you to look after our brothers and sisters in uniform, those who are protecting our lives, whether they be here at home or in faraway lands. Please look after them, put your hand on their shoulders, bring them home safely and soon to their families. And we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Ms. Suzanne, let the record reflect Mr. Valentine is absent. He's out on business. Number 3, there's no chairs addition today. We will be passing on item 17. Item 17 we're going to be passing on. Number 4, public comment. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item, please sign in with Ms. Suzanne. Presentations. Ms. Suzanne, do we have any presentations tonight? All right, thank you. Number 6, Parish President report. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to walk down to the podium so we can review a couple things. We're going to share with you some building permit numbers that for the year-to-date comparison this time last year. You'll find interesting. You should better see them on your screen if all this technology works right.
Of course it does.
That's going to be a little small for people in the audience, but all of you on your individual screen should better see it. We're going to start with residential new construction, and I stress this is not mobile homes. This is not in the incorporated areas. This is strictly residential new construction, and you'll see that so far this year, as of yesterday's date, those permits total 697. That's compared to 477 this time last year. So you see a large increase in new construction, residential single-family homes. And again, I emphasize to you, this is not apartments, this is not mobile homes, and none of these numbers reflect any development and growth in our municipalities. As far as remodeling and additions, the year-to-date is 35 residential for a total value of about $809,000. This time last year, remodeling through May 17th was 118. So you see we had a lot more remodeling and addition work being done last year than new construction, and that value totaled almost $2.4 million. Now on the commercial side, and this is something I think we'll all be very excited about, and because it's obviously we want the retail growth, and you'll see a chart in a minute for 3 years that reflects how much we are making progress in diversifying our economy. As of May 17th, we had 52 new construction commercial projects for a total value of $10,784,990. Compared to last year, we had 22 through May 17th new commercial construction projects, and that total value was $4,210,580. So you see commercial permitting has increased significantly, more than twice over this time last year. Now, in the addition and remodeling area commercially, through yesterday, we have a total count of 27 projects, a total value of $3,644,616. Year-to-date, last year comparison was 15 projects. There we go, a total value of $1,270,000. Any questions about any of that? Now, this next chart is something that Finance has been working on. We told you we would get you to help you see. One of the concerns that some of you had expressed with the administration's proposal to ask our citizens this fall to dedicate 1/8 of our 1 cent tax as presently undedicated was because of the fluctuations we've had over the years in sales taxes up and down. To ask Finance to look at, how well are we doing in diversifying our economy so that we're not so dependent upon petrochemical revenues. Because as you realize, much of the fluctuations over the years was due to the ebbs and tides of the petrochemical industry that we were so heavily dependent upon, and we still obviously derive a lot of parish government revenue from that sector of the economy. However, it's interesting to see, and we just start with retail here, and I think the citizens in the audience can see this well. Also, you look at April of 2004, April of 2005, and April of 2006, you see a huge increase in the percentage of our revenue and the dollars that's coming in the retail commercial side compared to 2 years ago. And so one of the things that we had all wanted to work on and help bring about with the creation of the Ascension Economic Development Corporation, working with business and industry, was to diversify our revenue stream so that we would not be impacted so significantly when downturns would occur in the petrochemical industry. So it appears that we're making some significant progress in that regard. Now, I caution you in that much of this retail increase obviously has been since Katrina, but even if you look at the April 2005 numbers, it was beginning to increase over 2004, and obviously it's been a huge increase in this sector of our revenue since last April, about 130,000. We look at the plants, you see we went up last year compared to 2004, and then this year, as April of 2006, we back down just a little bit over what we were in 2004. Business and industrial suppliers, much of that does relate to the petrochemical business, the plant business, but not all of it, as we understand it. And we got these reports from the Sales Tax Authority, asking them to go in and break out the various sectors and to help us see what's happening in our economy. So you see a significant increase here compared to 2004 and 2006, especially in this sector as well. And then contractors has really gone down some, and that's basically, we think, and we're still trying to make sure we understand and clarify, this is not residential building, obviously, contractors. This is people working in the plants. and industrial side primarily. And motor vehicles is an area that really, we're not sure if we understand it, but it's been a huge increase from '04 to '06. Is that a lot? Obviously, our citizens here in the parish didn't have their cars destroyed in the storm, not very many anyway. And people who would be out of our parish shopping here, if they report their zip code in their home parish, that those sales tax dollars would go there and not to us. So we're not sure if a lot of people are buying vehicles in the last year or what, but you can see a significant increase in this sector of our revenue coming in. Any questions on this? And if any of you have any other concerns or questions on, asking our citizens to dedicate 1/8 of this 1 cent to wastewater, leaving us a 7/8 undedicated for other projects and other things that we fund with that. You've seen the numbers of the finance meeting last week, how sales taxes have increased significantly. And now we're almost 10 months away from Hurricane Katrina, and we really haven't seen a significant decline in that. So, and by looking at that first column and that first chart, you see why with a lot of our dollars now are coming from the retail sector. So that's my report tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, can you get a copy of those to the council?
Get a back copy.
Thank you. And that concludes your report, Mr.
Yes,
President?
sir.
Number 7, we have nothing on the consent agenda. Number 8, Utilities Committee. Chairman, Mr. Byrill.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Number 9, Mr. Valentine is out. Is anyone willing to, has anything to report on the Personnel Committee?
There hasn't been any, but there are some board positions open.
Okay.
Requested citizens to apply.
Mr. Hill is that?
Yeah, is there any particular reason that the position that Barry and Niles occupied previously, they called it the house numbering, has that position been advertised yet? Are we going to fill that position? Because I think we need to advertise it if we are.
How about
That's
municipal
administration.
Yeah.
That's administration.
That's not us.
Yeah, we're working on that.
They're working on it, yeah, that's what.
When's it going to be advertised?
I'm not sure of the date, but I know they've talked to us.
Right, okay, well, we definitely need to go ahead and advertise that position.
I think they're looking in-house first. That's
Yes.
what I was told.
Yeah.
They're letting in-house look at it first. If they got anybody, then they're.
That's an administrative issue anyway, and they're working toward it. Number 10, Recreation Committee. Chairman, Mr. Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would like to just ask that the next meeting for the recreation will be May 30th, not May 27th, as I said on the meeting in Donaldsonville. The meeting will be on May 30th at DPW. Please try to attend. And also asking Ms. Suzanne that you make contact with the city of Donaldsonville to make sure that they have someone to represent them at that meeting on the 30th.
What time, Coach?
The meeting is at 6 o'clock at DPW.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
President.
I think, well, I just read an email a few minutes ago that we got a special transportation committee meeting being called for the 30th, don't we, Sheriff?
We certainly do, and I sit on the recreation and I sit on the bridge subcommittee, and I was under the impression that we meet at 6 o'clock for the bridge subcommittee, or is it 5? It's 5 for that and recreation following, and so we set the transportation for 7.
For 7?
So we'll have all 3 meetings.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes, Mr. Thomas. Also, you also like to send Mr. Chuck Long notice of the meeting because, from what I understand, he's over that West Ascension Recreation
Commission.
Commission.
All right, anyone else? All right, Ms. Fontenot, Mr. President, where is this transportation meeting being held? Here?
Yeah, here.
Here?
Now, well, we probably need to have all 3 in the same place because some of
Well,
you are
that's
going to
where-
have trouble.
That's where I'm getting at right now.
I don't have them all here, Coach.
Councilman Thomas, is there any reason why we're going to DPW versus over here? Is there a problem moving it over here?
No, sir, there's no
Where all
problem
meetings
moving
be held
it.
over here instead of running around the last second?
No problem.
All right, you note that, Ms. Suzanne. The Recreation Committee meeting will be here.
Bridge
At
subcommittee too?
Bridge also, ma'am.
at what time? At 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock, Mr. Chairman, and Mrs. Suzanne, make sure that all parties, Ms. Beth and Ms. Kenton, be notified of, because right now I think they're under the impression that we'll be at DPW.
Okay.
So make sure every party understands that we'll be here at the courthouse. Council.
Why
Thank
don't you send them a notice right prior to the 30th to the reminder, or a phone call, one of the two. Mr. Dempsey Lambert.
And also the bridge, Ms. Patterson, at 5 here.
Yes, sir.
Promise?
All right, we got that taken care of. All right, moving on to number 11, Transportation Committee, Chairwoman Ms. Fontenot.
Thank you, Councilman Savoy. We're going to turn it over right now to Mr. Rue, who has some items to come before the council.
The Transportation Committee met on May 9th and have the following recommendation for your consideration tonight. 11A is a GSA Incorporated Supplemental Agreement Number 2, Roddy Road Bridges, Bird Allen Ditch, and Shadow Creek. What this is actually going in and putting in those bridges along that section of Roddy Road now because of the safety, the hazards along that road caused by these bridges. They're going to be put in, going from a 28-foot wide wood bridge to a 40-foot wide concrete bridge. That's part of the Roddy Road reconstruction widening project, and the idea is to go ahead and reconstruct the bridges as to the widening design, and then after the right-of-way is obtained, to complete the project, to go in there and complete the widening project from 931 to 621. The bridges are becoming, it's in need of repair, and so instead of just spending the money to repair the bridges, go ahead and put in the bridges that's going to be needed for the widening project, and then we'll save money that way. The total amount is $32,400, and it's actually just an increase of $18,400 from the original contract. We had a deduction of $14,000 because that money was in the original widening project to GSA, so we deducted that amount from the original contract. So it actually comes to a total increase of $18,400 to do the bridges.
Motion approved, Mr. Chair.
Second. Discussion.
Motion by Mr. Bowrigger, second by Mr. Thompson. Discussion, Mr. Hill.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rue, on that particular bridge at Shadow Creek, Bird Allen Ditch, are we also going to elevate that road and bring
yes.
that bridge up? Because
Yes.
I know it goes under.
What we're going to do actually is build the two bridges as part of the total design of the reconstruction of the road. So when you do come back and reconstruct the road to ASHTO and DOTD standards like we did Parker Road, everything will be level and complete, and we have enough space under the bridge to take care of the flow of the water as needed.
And the bridge will not go under.
That's right.
Has been. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Fontenot.
I just wanted to make a comment, and that comment is that we are asking that this project be done during the summer so that there wouldn't be any routing problems with school buses, et cetera, when school starts.
Right, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Bowrigger.
Yeah, I was going to ask Mr. Rue to give us a timeline, because I know we was trying to get it done this summer, and I don't think it'll quite be ready. So if you could
That's
update
the
us on a
key to it
timeline.
right now, is trying to determine how long it take to get the actual design completed and out for a bid. And I don't believe that we'll be able to get it out to bid before we're within the summer. So we're looking at later this year. But in the design phase, we're going to try to find new routes or different routes and have to work it out with the school board. I don't think we can have it ready to begin May 1st on the construction phase.
In June 1st.
How long is this going to take
June.
what's the construction time, Bill, on this bridge?
We're looking at actually two bridges.
What's the total time to do the work?
Usually, in this kind, once construction starts, you're looking at 60 to 120 days. It ranges. The difference is that these are being enlarged to such a great extent. It's not just going in there and replacing a bridge. It's actually going to be a total reconstruction, raising the elevations. It's a lot of work. So it's going to be a fair amount of time in getting the construction done on this.
Have you talked to the school system?
No, in fact, I talked to the new school superintendent some yesterday, and about the school situations all over, and the particular situation on that road because of the school that's on that road. And we're going to talk more and work with their school bus routing and try to work out some ways to alleviate some of the problems that it may cause.
Ms. Fontenot?
Well, we did also mention that they would only do one bridge at a time.
Right.
Is that still in
Just
play?
one bridge at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right, question I have, Bill, is as far as the bridges, if we're going to go and address the bridges first, or we talk about coming right behind with the road project? Because if you're going to raise the bridge and we're going to sit on the road construction for quite a while, that becomes a safety factor as far as it becoming a ramp.
No, and we're going to take care of that, as part of the reconstruction of the bridge, to make sure that it meets safety standards. The answer is no. We're not going to be coming immediately after it because we don't have the right-of-way yet. And we're not completely finished with the design. And we've got right-of-way, utility relocation, and, utility relocation right-of-way is two main issues. And we don't have any idea how long that may take. You can see what's happening on Joseph Area Road. We run into problems always on that. It's going to be at least another year before we can come through there and even get close to beginning construction on the road itself.
Right, that's what, now we get into reality. If we don't have all the right-of-way and we don't have
Right.
utilities
No,
located yet.
it
That
takes the
reality
time.
is maybe next year.
It's definitely be sometime next year at best
Okay.
that we get to construction, at best.
Next summer.
Mr. Byron?
Yeah, Mr. Rue, we said we was going to do one bridge at a time. Can y'all look at doing both at the same time? The people between the two bridges can still get out down JD, out to Mill Road on 621 to reduce the time that Ryder Road is closed.
We'll investigate that.
It is possible.
We'll look at, again, we have to meet with the school board on the bus routes, and we'll get together and look at the situation from that standpoint. We were looking at it from purely standpoint of doing one at a time, but we'll look at the whole thing and see what we can do. It's two fairly major projects, the two bridges, and enlarging them to this extent from what they were on that small road. So it's going to take a good bit of work. But we'll go back and look at that, all the alternatives on routing the traffic around.
Mr. Thompson?
Bill, what's the holdup with all the right-of-way on Riley Road?
Well, right now, the basic reason is the right-of-way agent has not put enough time in on it, to be honest with you.
Well, we got some roads in the parish that need widening, and it's getting pretty serious.
We have, yes.
We either need to get somebody to get on top of it and start acquiring the right-of-way, either get him some help, replace somebody, or do whatever it takes to start acquiring this right-of-way. If they got title problems, maybe we need to look at the acquisition phase of it. Putting the money on the side and in escrow, and whenever we just go in and take the property and start moving forward. Because I got some concern also with Worthy Road with title problems and the same issue. And what I think we need to do is go in there and just start acquiring the right-of-way. Get somebody who can get it done.
And we are in actually talks with URS on trying to move that Roddy Road project and also the Cannon Road, that one phase of the Cannon Road from the bridge to Roddy Road. Both of those projects really has not been, for the right-of-way parts of those projects haven't really begun, and we really need to.
I would like to see a update on the parcels and how many parcels are left that we need to acquire. And we need to put a timeline on whoever acquiring it, getting it done.
The other, not say problem, but I have to make sure that the right-of-way maps is completed for us, the final, at least the preliminary plans are completed with the right-of-way maps on it. And I don't know if all of that has been completed yet. So in some cases, the right-of-way people cannot get out there and acquire right-of-way until they have the actual plans on where it's going to go and how much land is needed. And I'm not sure that's totally completed yet.
Well, who's doing the plan?
GSA is doing the plans.
I think we need to send them a letter.
Well, we're going to check on it. In fact, URS is here, and we're going to check on it in the morning and see the status of those plans and get a timeline on the completion of the plans.
Is there any further question? Is there any opposition to the motion? Having none, motion passes.
Okay, item B is certificate of substantial completion for Boudreaux Road Phase 2, clearing and grubbing, Deep End Company. Recommend approval.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Byringer, second by Mr. Todd Lambert. Is there any question? Any opposition? Having none, motion passed.
Item 11C is the acceptance of the bid for the 2005 road reconstruction project. That's the Burke Klein Peter project, engineering firm. Low bidder was R.J. Dago Incorporated. Low bid was $2,468,905.85. Recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Todd Lambert, second by Mr. McConnell. Is there any question? Mr. McConnell.
Mr. Rue, Lake Park subdivision is in this,
Yes, sir.
is in that bid.
Yes, sir.
We're going to take it out.
Better check it.
It may be way down, but I'll have to check and help you out.
I'm gonna
See
bring
what
you.
we can do on it.
I'm
bringing
going
it
to
up.
bring you to Lake Park subdivision if it's not in there. So,
I'm sure I'm going to get calls if they're working on another road instead of some of those roads in that subdivision.
thank you, Mr. Rue.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Rule, is Sonny Thompson in there in Geismar?
I think it is. It should be, because it's been on the list for over a year or two. Get something done. It should be on that list, too, I think.
Any further questions? Mr. Rue,
Yes.
what did we budget for this particular?
$2.5 million, and it comes in at $2,129,000,
Okay, good enough.
so we're within budget.
All right, good enough. Any further questions? Is there any opposition to the motion? Having none, motion passed.
11D is acceptance of roads into the parish maintenance system. These are subdivision roads. They all have been through the one-year warranty. They have been inspected, and we recommend approval. You should have the list. And unless need, I'll just submit the list for recording.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Todd Lambert.
I move that we move on it. It came out of transportation with recommendations. Going with.
Got a motion by Mr. Todd Lambert, second by Mr. Byringer, to accept the recommendations of accepting these roads into the parish. Mr. McConnell.
Yeah, just question, it's the same question I had before. How are these roads, Mr. Rue?
They passed our inspection.
They looking good? And I'm noticing, too, on every one of these, the bond, the one-year bond is either expired or expiring. Some of them expire tonight.
And that's what we did an inspection, several weeks ago, prior to, and to make sure that we're within time of the warranty period. It
And-
just
and
happened
are
to be
we-
coming to you tonight.
But
it was done several
aren't
weeks.
we, or did we not talk about the possibility of extending that bond period on future projects requiring a longer period?
Right, we're still in talks with the review agent for the commission and ourselves, and we're trying to get a better understanding of what problems that may cause. And because we had some concerns about it after we talked to a few people.
Oh, I understand, and I want to be completely fair about it. But
Right. And it's still under review.
Because these bonds are expiring, we have no remedy. Now, fortunately, if you say you inspected them and they all pass inspection, that's fine.
Right. The good thing is now, well before the bond, and I say well before, weeks before the bond is due to expire, we evaluate the roads completely.
Okay.
And
good deal.
in fact, we had several roads that we are holding back and are filing suit over for revocation of the bond until we can get some work done on them. We have, I think, at least 3. So the process is working, and
Pleasantly
our inspectors
refreshing,
are
Mr.
doing a good
Thank you.
job.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Thompson?
Mr. Rue, when we accept this road and the maintenance in the maintenance plan, are we accepting those retention ponds also when we accept the roads in the subdivision?
No, sir, that becomes subdivision green space. In essence, it belongs to the subdivision and under their control and maintenance responsibility.
So the subdivision, the residents in the subdivision are responsible for
Yes, sir.
those retention ponds?
They are responsible, and in most cases, they have a subdivision committee or something like this that puts together a plan to keep them up. A lot of times, around the edges, the individual property owners that has property joining the ponds keep up that section of the pond, but it is a responsibility of the subdivision.
So when a constituent call you, want to know could he bulkhead the property behind him, I guess it's okay if I tell him, yeah, he can do it.
Best to say that we have no interest in it, and we have no jurisdiction over it to give an answer one way or the other.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
You may want to just refer them to his homeowners association or architectural control committee if they have one in their development, Adrian. But probably it's something I should have mentioned in the report, ties in all of this, and some of your questions are great. What we're doing now on the front end to try to stop having so many public works problems on the back end, and we're not going to do it in the middle of a planning and zoning commission meeting, which is very emotional. This is all being done now with Mr. Rue's department, working with the zoning people, with the building people, the planning people, the landowners, the developers up front, so that, I was out today in some areas, Mr. Heisel and I, where we got trees growing up. These are new, so we instructed Mr. Sanjay, our review engineering agent, with the planning commission. We got to stop some of this because we had a crew out there that had to only work on one side of the canal because they can't get on the other side with the fences all along the subdivision. We can't have room to get the equipment in. You know, if we go in there and knock the fences down, the PR nightmare you're going to have in your areas. And so we've said we've got to do something. We can't let this continue like this because it's inhibiting our ability to accomplish the mission of drainage. We got oak trees in there 40 inches in diameter in the middle of the drainage canal, and they got fences right up along the edge, so we can't even get equipment in there. And so we're working on the front end to try to prevent these problems in the future. And also retention ponds, you notice now they're not, I don't think any are being put in the back where, some you got some old subdivision where they back there in the weeds now, kind of like almost a sewer treatment oxidation pond. And so you're noticing more of them are being put in the middle of the development, so it's like a lakeside lot now where the property owners will maintain those things. We're going to have problems sometime in the future in some of these older subdivisions with these retention ponds where their placement is located. And so we're trying to address all those issues, and the drainage ordinance, the subdivision regulations. As soon as we can get all that done, it's going to enhance our ability to prevent problems on the back end and try to address all these issues on the front end. And so that's the strategy we're working, and it's going to work a lot better. So I just want to make sure all of you understand that, and we need your support on all of that. And it's going to be some people fussing, but we can't continue to let fences go in our right-of-ways and servitudes where we can't get in there to do the work we need to do.
Mr. Todd Lamb.
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, I've checked into that issue with the retention ponds with legal. It might have been Mr. O'Neill. The only thing the parish is liable for is the outfall pipe on that pond. That's it. The pond is for the homeowners association.
I think we had to go in with Willow Lake, do some work a couple years back. I don't know if Councilman Salvo and Councilman Thomas remember that. They come to the parish, and we were responsible for it. And that's why I have some concerns about approving these subdivisions, putting in areas that don't need retention ponds.
On that
We're
issue,
not putting them anywhere where we don't need them.
the work we did in that particular case was part of the outfall structure and part of our responsibility. The pond itself wasn't, and that's why we had to go in and do that kind of work back then.
Mr. Thomas.
Okay, Mr. Rue, two questions. First question, how many subdivisions are we looking at in 05 in this package here?
Forest roads,
Yeah.
I have to go
How
back
many
and count.
subdivisions we dealing with?
One,
New
two,
subdivisions, most of them are.
all of them are new. Well, it might be different filings of a fairly new subdivision, or a new subdivision, but you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 subdivisions, it looks like. Different, but again, it could be different filings of an older subdivision, I'm not sure.
And my other question was, is there any concern of any subdivision foreseen in the near future on the West Bank in Donaldsonville? Has there anyone come to
Nothing,
concern?
nothing solid. We heard, rumors of some people trying to sell some land, hopefully for some type of development, but nothing formal requests or plans coming to the Planning Commission on it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Shakes, now you had something?
Yes, sir. That was. I just wanted to echo the parish president's thoughts on the planning side of it. On the subdivision, they're trying to design things now where they're more home friendly, where it's something that people can keep up. They're even take some of the lakes now, and some requests have been to make them trophy bass lakes in order to attract people, and canoe areas, all of those type of things on these larger ones, and the smaller ones to have them where make sure that they're deep enough where they don't grow the weeds and things, and so the design is coming out much better, and so it's going to reduce the amount of upkeep and everything. So I think a lot of that is being looked at because there was concerns, as Mr. Thompson had said, in the past, and we didn't do the best job in the past, and so they're changing the design, so it's getting much better.
All right. There's a motion and a second to accept the recommendation of DPW to accept these roads into the parish system. Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes. E.
That's E is Joseph Ariel Road Demco Servitude Relocation Agreement. What this is the widening project of Joseph Ariel Road. Demco is requiring that we pay the cost, most of the cost, if not all of the cost, of the relocation of their lines outside of a servitude that they acquired many years ago. It's been, it went through legal, and legal said that they have a right to require us to pay. Total amount of money is $280,340.01.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Dempsey Lambert, second by Mr. Shakespeare. Is there any discussion? Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Mr. Babin, you got a question? Concern? Don't jump, don't throw your head up like that. Go ahead, Bill. Oh, I did, but I don't. Okay. Move on, Mr. Rue.
Okay. Item 11F, agreement with DOTD for the LA Highway 42 Improvement Project. And this is part of the demo federal money that we received to widen LA 42. As part of the agreement with DOTD, of course, all the money, federal funds, goes through DOTD, and they administer the contract and the project. Part of that requirement, DOTD says they will pay the 20% match for all engineering, right-of-way, preliminary engineering, environmental fees. They'll pay the 20% match on that, but the parish is required to pay 20% match on the construction part of it. That could mean as much as $1.5 to $2 million that the parish may be required to put up. However, this is going to be over phases, maybe several or many phases. So at any point in time, it certainly won't be anywhere near putting up that whole amount. And it'll be over several years that this amount have to be spread over. But it looks like before they can proceed any further with that, the parish will have to commit the funds on this. In addition to it, just to let you know what DPW is doing, we're been in talks, and in fact, with the representatives today, our state representatives, and they're working on the possibility of obtaining money from somewhere else to help us out with that $1.5 to $2 million. Again, it's going to be in phases. It's going to be over several years, but the total amount may come to as much as $2 million, probably more like $1.5 million.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
for that project.
Got a motion by Mr. Hillensbeck,
Second.
second by Mr. Shakespeare. Is there any question? Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
Okay, Bill, you're going to take the next one, which is item 12. and I'm going to
Yes,
go ahead
ma'am.
and
I'll
finish
take
my
that.
report. We did have a stakeholders meeting yesterday. It went real well. We got some input from, fire departments, the sheriff, the superintendent of schools, people of some of the municipalities. So URS is taking the lead now with all the information, and they're going to come back, and we will have a special meeting of the transportation on Wednesday, I think it is, May the 30th at 7 p.m. right here in the Courthouse East. That's dealing with the half-cent sales tax that we're proposing. Then I want to remind everybody that the next transportation meeting will be here on June the 13th at 6:30 or immediately following the Utility Committee meeting. Once again, I want to remind the citizens of Ascension Parish to obey the speed signs and to watch out for the children who will be out of school shortly. That is what we recommend from the Transportation Committee as a whole. I thank you, Mr. Rue.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. We need to,
Mr. President.
Ms. Fontenot, I think the 30th is a Tuesday night, not a
Is it a Tuesday?
Tuesday. Yes, ma'am.
It is. It is a
It's
Tuesday
Tuesday.
night.
Yes,
Right.
that'll be Tuesday.
Okay.
That's the night of all three of those
Right.
meetings.
Located here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, number 12, proposed road list for a 2016 project.
Yes, sir. This was really part of the agenda for the Transportation Committee at the meeting of May 9th. It was discussed and recommended by the committee to send it out to all council members for review, with the request that they give comments back to us as quick as possible, because we wanted to try to get this project off and going. We'll get the engineering complete on it. The reason we bring it up on this as a separate agenda item is, again, to bring this to your notice that we need responses back as soon as possible. If you have a problem with some of the roads or want to substitute something in it, we need to go ahead and work through there before the next committee meeting, because they're going to take it up at the next committee meeting and declare what road will be part of that program. I have copies of the road list, and we send it to your email. If you don't have it, I have copies of it for you tonight. Again, it's mainly to emphasize the fact that we need it back as soon as possible.
Ms. Fontenot, when's your next Transportation Committee meeting?
It's the Tuesday, the 13th of June at 6:30, immediately following the Utility Committee meeting. It's on a Tuesday.
Couldn't we just?
Let's,
Unless you, again, is it your preference? If you want to act on it, it's
Discussion.
up to y'all. But even if we get the comments back and everybody's in agreement and we work it out, we can start a lot of the preliminary engineering for us, geotechnical work and stuff like this.
Ms. Fontenot.
I have some questions. In going over the list, I was wondering, where did these roads come from? Was reviewing the 2005 list that we had picked several of them, 2.5 million of those. Many of these roads were not on that list that we had gotten together, and some of those that were on that list, like for instance, there's nothing in District 4.
Nothing in District 3 also.
And nothing in, right.
I have some
Excuse me,
concerns with that.
Ms. Fontenot, I'm going to recommend that you call a special transportation meeting between now and the June 1st,
June 13th.
June 3rd,
June 1st, our next council
the
meeting.
next council meeting,
Oh, okay.
June, the first council meeting in June, so that we can keep this on the agenda for that meeting and try to have this hashed out. And it should be done. We have a pretty good list established. There's a few things that needs to be looked at, but I think with one meeting, we ought to be able to narrow it down and get it going. Is that possible?
I'm not sure I'll be able to do that. I won't be here the week of June, first week of June.
All right. The vice chairman can pick it up. Who's the vice chairman?
Todd.
Todd. Y'all see to it that happens before the next council meeting, so we can keep it on the council meeting for consideration. All right, Mr. Hillenbeck.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill, I bring this up because of the concern in looking at Muddy Creek Road. That road is deteriorating quickly in sections. I know originally, if you'll think, remember back, that road was on an earlier road project to be done, and we pulled it in order to wait for the bridge. And then, of course, we were going to do it all in one project. And then, of course, the bridge got changed to doing a floodgate. Now we're back to doing a bridge. Would it be possible to look at doing maybe the majority of that road, but leave that section out that would be affected by the bridge, and include that in the bridge project once the grant comes through? Because the road is deteriorating, and it's going to cost us more money, and it's to the point where it's getting unsafe in areas to drive. It's so rough.
Yes, sir, and we'll look at that certainly. But
Okay.
the section that's going to be under reconstruction, if we elevate that bridge, is a fairly long section. And I think some of the worst parts of it, before the bridge at least, is going to be part of that section that's going to have to be tore up for the and elevated for the reconstruction of the bridge.
Yeah, but just looking at the high points where it's obvious the road would be raised along with the bridge. That's not that much of the road when you look at the entire length of road. But I really appreciate you taking a look at that.
No,
we're having some discussion on that road.
And that's exactly why we're bringing it up, to have a discussion. Really, we haven't talked to many council members since the Transportation Committee, and that's what concerned us. We want to bring these comments to us so we can evaluate within the budget that we have, which is
Right.
$2.5 million, and we want to stay below that budget
Right.
to make sure on the list that we put out, to make sure that if the bids come in, if they're a little bit higher, we're still within that budget. So we're looking at everything within $2.5 million.
Right.
We
And
may have
and
to
this was a road that
substitute.
was
or
approved
move.
earlier. Like I
Right.
said, I'm just bringing it up because how the road is deteriorating.
But
and
that is all part of this process.
All right, we can
The comment.
continue this that's
Right.
why we call a special meeting, to hash it out, instead of opening it up for everybody discussing it. All right, Mr. Todd Lambert.
Yeah, Mr. Bill and the council, make sure y'all get y'all recommendations in on this 06 project as quick as y'all can to DPW, so we will have them
You got mine tonight.
within a week or so, as far as the transportation. I'm trying to set that meeting within a week, so.
It's kind of hard to give our recommendations unless we see a full list.
Get with Dennis Babin, and
So,
he probably
I
has
mean,
that list,
you know,
right, Bill?
That's why I haven't
Yeah,
done
we-
anything between then and now. I've had to go back in my own records
Right.
to check to see and pull out old files and stuff. And so if y'all can get us the list that this come from, because the list that I checked this against doesn't match. And they've got a lot of new roads added to the ones that we had all put in for the 205 one that didn't get done. So I'm wondering why some of those were eliminated.
But the responsibility that we have under the unitary system is for us to go out, evaluate completely on the value, the condition of the road, without any consideration of districts or anything like that. And then we take it back to y'all, and then we work out some detailed compromise or whatever on trying to get what you think are some of the worst roads, and work it out and stay within the $2.5 million budget. This is the way we always have done it. And the comment phase, which is after we submit it to you and you come back, we work out the details, exactly what's going to be included into the plan, and then we come back and pretty much everybody's for it at that point.
Right.
So
I was
just part of the
going by
process.
The one you had done last year, Bill, the 205 one, you had us all go out and assess our district and make recommendations, and we had a big, long list. And, you know, some of these roads that are on here were not on the list that we originally made, and I was just wondering where they came from and how they got there.
It came from the reevaluation of the system, our transportation system.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Number 13, Strategic Planning Committee, Mr. Shea Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did not have a meeting, but just to update people, we have some ongoing working meetings for the traffic impact fees that has continued to go on, and the subdivision construction regulations. We're still having some meetings going on for that, and we'll be reporting on those issues. And want to announce that the River Region Caucus meeting for the parishes along the river, Ascension Parish will be hosting it May 22nd at 6 p.m. And Mrs. Zahn, where is that going to be located? At the Half Shell. So it will be there, and we will be hosting the other parishes then. And because of that, we're moving the strategic planning meeting to Wednesday, the 24th, at 6 p.m. here at the courthouse. Make sure everyone knows that change.
Thank you.
That is all.
Number 14, the Finance Committee. Mr. McConnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a nice, sweet little Finance Committee meeting last week. We didn't even indebt the parish too badly, so we'll go over it quickly. Item number 14A, we considered renewing the premium for malpractice insurance for our health and mental health counselors for a total premium of $55,421.10. That's an increase of $4,000 over last year, and it has a $15,000 deductible, and it was a unanimous recommendation that we renew that policy.
Got a move by Mr. Todd Lambert, second by Ms. Fontenot. Is there any question? Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
And then for item number 14B, we considered an agreement between Ascension Parish Government and Louisiana Staffing Unlimited for staffing
Motion
services.
approved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Byrick, second by Mr. Thompson. Is there any discussion? Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
And that's our report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell. Number 15, zoning review ID 1456.06, track F1 of the T.A. Miller Senior track for Roger Mays, located on the southwest corner of Louisiana Highway 42 and Louisiana Highway 930, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium intensity residential to crossroads commercial. And this is to accept or deny. Mr. Lance Brock is here, if anybody's got any questions.
Motion to accept, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Byrick, second by Mr.
That's to accept planning and zoning's recommendation, excuse me.
Second by Mr. McConnell to accept the department's recommendation. Is there any question? Is there any?
What is the recommendation?
Yeah,
To accept.
Yeah, what are we motioning, Mr.
They
Bailey?
recommended that it be accepted.
Read your packet, it says it right there.
No, it says deny or accept. That's what it says.
No, when you hand out where it got the whole packet.
This is property that is behind the Louisiana Nursery. All of that is zoned crosswords commercial, and this is just going to add to it. And, by the way, the next item has probably got something, the very same thing to do with that.
Yes, sir.
That's all it is.
Yes, sir.
It was a recommendation of staff and
Yes, sir.
Planning and Zoning Committee.
Did you find it, Mr. Hillenbeck?
I got it.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 16, zoning review ID 1455.06, track A for Charles and Annetta Prager, located on the south side of Louisiana Highway 42 and Highway 930, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium intensity residential to crossroads commercial. And this is to accept or deny.
I move to accept the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning, which is to approve the rezoning.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell. Second. Got a motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Todd Lambert. Is there any discussion? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, if we
Mr.
could back up to
Hillenbeck.
the previous item, I just reviewed it. I don't see a recommendation. I mean, he talks about it in his verbiage, but there is no recommendation. I thought I'd read that earlier. Just for the record, Mr. Brock, you do recommend?
Yes, sir, I
approval on that?
recommend it,
Thank
yes,
you.
sir.
Thought I'd read that earlier, but it is not in the verbiage.
Number
Thank you.
18, the resolution in opposition to House Bill number 1191, related to governmental powers, functions, and responsibilities regarding Homeland Security and emergency preparedness. Has everyone had the opportunity to read this resolution? If the bulk of this resolution is sending a message to our state delegation that Ascension Parish is not in favor of turning over powers and functions of OEP. If you need further explanation, Mr. Babin will read the resolution. Anybody wishing Mr. Babin to read the resolution? No.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Ty Lambert to accept the resolution. Is there any discussion? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. You looked down on that one, Ricky. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. We got a couple of introductions of ordinance. Introduction of an ordinance to revoke the existing 15-foot drainage servitude on track FGD-1-A-1 lying along the northerly exterior boundaries of lots 790 and 791 of Pelican Point Golf Community, 12th filing.
I move to introduce the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Ty Lambert, second by Mr. McConnell to introduce ordinance to public hearing. Is there any discussion? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 20, introduction of an ordinance to revoke a 15-foot utility servitude bordering the north side of the designated land formerly titled Lot 10 of newly titled Lot A1 shown on the attached map. And that's for introduction.
I move to introduce the ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Thompson. Is there any discussion? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 21, public hearing to consider an ordinance allowing a lease pursuant to a cooperative endeavor agreement of certain movable properties owned by Ascension Parish to the State of Louisiana Department of Health and Hospitals. Mr. Babin.
To allow the lease pursuant to a cooperative endeavor agreement of certain movable property owned by the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, Department of Health and Hospitals, Office of Public Health, hereinafter the state. Whereas the Parish of Ascension owns the following vehicles: a 1997 Ford, a 1998 Dodge pickup, a 2005 GMC pickup, and a 2001 Ford Taurus. Whereas the Parish of Ascension wishes to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the state wherein the parish would lease the above described vehicles to the state. In consideration thereof, the state will provide personnel and environmental health services to the Parish of Ascension government in an amount equal to the value of the vehicles' leased values. A copy of the cooperative endeavor agreement is attached hereto and made a part hereof as Exhibit A. Be it ordained that the Ascension Parish Council, as governing authority in and for the Parish of Ascension, does hereby authorize the lease of the above described vehicles without warranty of any kind, according to the terms and conditions more fully set forth in the cooperative endeavor agreement attached hereto and made a part hereof as Exhibit A.
Do I hear a motion to open public hearing? Motion by Mr. Dempsey Lambert, second by Mr. Todd Lambert, open public hearing. Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this public hearing?
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Motion closed by Mr. Hillensbeck, second by Mr. Chase Snyder. Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 22, the ordinance itself. We got a motion by Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Todd Lambert, by Mr. Hillensbeck. Is there any
Questions?
Is there any question? Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 23, we got a public hearing to consider an ordinance authorizing the lease of a certain parcel of property located in Ascension, Parish of Ascension to the Jambalaya Festival Association. Do I hear a motion to open public hearing?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert, open public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this public hearing?
Rick's got to read it.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, we normally read the ordinance before the opening the public hearing? Hate to do that to you, Mr. Babin, but
He was on
It's the law.
road
I better.
Mr. Babin,
I'll read it to you.
I'm going to let you cut in here.
Thank you. To lease a certain parcel of property located in the Parish of Ascension to the Jambalaya Festival Association, more fully described as follows: a certain tract or parcel of real estate situated in Ward 7, Gonzales, Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, said tract being in the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of the southwest quarter, Section 26, Township 9 South, Range 2 East, Southeastern Land District, east of the Mississippi River, said tract of land being in Square 2 of the P Card Edition in Gonzales, Louisiana, said Square 2 being bounded by North Street, Service Street, Caroline Street, Old Bayou Northeast Road. The tract is here described as being in portions of Lot 1, 2, and 3 of Square 2. Be it ordained, the Ascension Parish Governing Authority does hereby authorize the aforementioned property to the Jambalaya Festival Association in accordance with the lease agreement, a copy of which is attached hereto, made a part of as Exhibit A. Be it further ordained that this ordinance is being considered and adopted pursuant to Section 6.01 of the Ascension Parish Charter. I will call your attention that the lease that was originally presented to you, and I did not amend it in your packages since it was the originally one introduced, had a term of 1 year. The Jambalaya Festival Association has asked that it be for 20 years so that they can recoup the use of the improvements that they're going to make to the property.
All right. Motion. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this public hearing?
Motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Mr. Byrigger, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Close the public hearing. Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I move the ordinance with the amendment of 20 years instead of 5 years.
I'll second that.
You got a motion with the amendment by Mr. Byrigger, second by Mr. McConnell. Is there any question? Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 25.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Byrigger, second by Mr. Todd Lambert to adjourn. Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.